press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
In the last class, we are learning about the chapter number 5, that is rulers and the buildings. And also I am explaining the points garden, tombs and forts, isn't it? In the last class, I already explained gardens, tombs and forts. Tombs and forts. Some points I already explained in the last class. Today we shall continue it. Okay. In the last class we already learned what is Chahar Bagh, isn't it? And how the Akbar architect they were influenced by the other architectures. We already learnt about that. Today we learn about what type of architecture was continued during the period of Shah Jahan. Okay. During the period of Shah Jahan, that the different elements of the Mughals, the different elements of the Mughal architecture were fused together. The different type of architecture that fused means connected together in the grand harmonious synthesis. In his rule, during the period of Shah Jahan, huge amount of construction activities started. During the period of Shah Jahan, especially during the period of Shah Jahan, huge amount of construction was started by the Shah Jahan. Okay, on that time, especially he built a huge construction. He started the huge construction in Agra and Delhi. The huge amount of construction activities was started by the Shah Jahan in Agra and Delhi. It witnessed in Agra and Delhi. Huge buildings, mosques, tombs were all built during the period of Shah Jahan. Okay, and also he built many ceremonial halls. Shah Jahan built many ceremonial halls of public, and also he built private audience hall. During the period of Shah Jahan, architecture were fused together. The architecture was fused. The some of the different elements of the architecture were fused. Fused means the mixed are connected together. Later, he started the huge amount of construction activities. Later, Shah Jahan started the huge amount of construction activities especially in Delhi and Agra. Then he means Shah Jahan. During his period, he constructed many buildings. At the time, among them, some of the important were, he constructed the ceremonial hall of publics. He constructed the ceremonial halls. The ceremonial halls hall of public, and also he built the private audience hall. The private audience hall. During the period of Shah Jahan, many buildings were built. Among them important were the ceremonial hall of public. The ceremonial public hall was built, and also not only the ceremonial public hall was built, and also the private audience hall were also built during the time of Shah Jahan. Okay. So on that time, these were when they want to construct these buildings. They planned first. They planned, and also later they placed. They planned and they placed within the large courtyard. they placed these buildings. First they planned how to build these buildings. Okay, first they planned, and later and also they placed these buildings within the large courtyard. Within the large courtyard, they placed these buildings. So these courts were described as the Chihil Sultan. These buildings, these courts were described as the Chihil Sultan. Chihil Sultan. What do you mean by Chihil Sultan? These were described as the Chihil Sultan or 40 pillared halls. This is also called as 40 pillared halls. 40 pillared hall. What is the situation? During the Shah Jahan's period, he constructed the ceremonial hall of public. Means public ceremonial hall was constructed, and also he constructed the private audience hall. When he want to construct these buildings, first they planned, and also they placed these buildings within the large courtyard. So these courts were described as the Chihil Sultan or the 40 pillared hall here. So and also the Shah Jahan's period, during the Shah Jahan's period, the audience hall was built, resemble the mosque. This is built resemble the mosque. Means how the mosques were building, what type of architecture were using in build the mosques. The same architecture was used in to build this audience hall. Okay, here the audience hall was specially constructed resemble means same type of the mosques during the period of Shah Jahan. And also the pedestal was placed, and also one of the important throne was constructed during the Shah Jahan's period. It is very important. The throne was constructed during the period of Shah Jahan. Okay, so the pedestal was placed on the throne. So that is described as the Qibla. What do you mean by Qibla? Qibla means a pedestal. A pedestal was placed on the throne. A pedestal was placed on the throne. So this throne was frequently described as the Qibla. This throne was the pedestal which was set up in that throne, on the throne, that was described as the Qibla here. And where they placed this throne? Especially they placed this throne, the direction faced by the Muslim at prayer. The direction faced by the Muslims. The direction faced by the Muslims at prayer. On that place, he placed this throne. Okay, now for what purpose he placed the throne on that place? Especially because everybody faced that the direction when the court was in session. Everybody faced that direction when the court was in session. The idea they want to represent the idea of the king was the representative of the God on the earth. They want to show the idea, the kings was the representative of the God on the earth. For that purpose, they placed this throne towards the direction faced by Muslims at the prayer. Okay. Shah Jahan not only built the audience halls, private and public, not only he built the mosques, tombs, etc. And also he built one of the important building, that is court. He constructed the court. Where he constructed the court? Red Fort. He constructed the court in Red Fort at Delhi. He constructed the Red Fort. Red Fort, especially at Delhi. Shah Jahan constructed the court in Red Fort at Delhi. It is also very famous building constructed by the Shah Jahan. Okay, behind the emperor's throne, there were a series of Pietra Dura. There were a series of Pietra Dura. What do you mean by Pietra Dura? Pietra Dura. What do you mean by Pietra Dura? Behind the emperor's throne. There was a series of Pietra Dura. What do you mean by Pietra Dura? Pietra Dura means it is a colored hard stones placed in the depressions carved into the marble or sandstone, creating beautifully ornate pattern. This is known as a Pietra Dura. Pietra Dura means colored hard stones. Colored and hard stones were placed. Stones were placed in depression. Depressions means lower place. Depressions carved into the marble. These are carved by the marbles or sandstone. Creating beautiful ornate pattern. Such type of Pietra Dura. Pietra Dura was inlays that depicted the legendary of the god Orpheus. So this Pietra Dura inlays behind the emperor's throne. This Pietra Dura was inlays behind the emperor's throne. Okay, that Pietra Dura describes a legendary. Legendary means a story. There is a story. There is no witness for that story. Understood situation? Legendary means it is a story. Without did not have any witness. There is no witness for that story. Okay, these are some of the story. The olden story, that is called as legendary. Dantakate. Legendary means Dantakate. Okay, so these Pietra Dura inlays, that Pietra Dura describes the legendary of Greek god Orpheus. This Pietra Dura describes the story, legendary of the Greek god Orpheus playing the lute. Okay, such type of picture we can observe the behind of the emperor's throne. There was a series of Pietra Dura was carved. Okay, and also here the Shah Jahan's constructed the audience hall. I already told, isn't it? Shah Jahan constructed many audience hall, public and private audience hall he was constructed. For what purpose he constructed the audience hall? What was his aim? What was his goal? Here the Shah Jahan constructed the audience hall. So, to give the justice to all, to give equal justice to all the people who are under his kingdom, who are living in his kingdom, means he wants to give equal justice, equal judgment to all the people, means all are equal before the law. All are equal before the law. He wants to uphold this principle through this audience hall, means he giving the justice. When he was giving the justice, there is no discrimination among the people and the people, if they were the rich or the poor, they were the high or low class, isn't it? For the aim of this, he built the audience hall here. And also he equally treated the peoples in his kingdom. As a result, the people gave more respect to the Shah Jahan. Okay, next, in the early years, the beginning of the Shah Jahan's rule, from the beginning of the Shah Jahan's rule, on that time Shah Jahan capital at Agra, the many noble persons construct their homes. And the situation from the beginning of the beginning rule of the Shah Jahan in his capital city, that is Agra. In Agra, many noble peoples constructed their homes. Though they constructed their homes especially on the bank of the river Yamuna. During the beginning stage of the beginning rule of the Shah Jahan, in Agra, many nobles built their homes especially on the banks of the river Yamuna. Okay, and first they already set up the formal garden. They constructed the formal garden in the middle part of the city. Okay, they already constructed the middle part of the city. They constructed the Chahar Bagh. I already explained what is Chahar Bagh, isn't it? The Chahar Bagh format, used the Chahar Bagh format, they constructed the one of the garden in the Agra. Okay, so this Chahar Bagh garden had a variation. The Chahar Bagh which was constructed in Agra, it had some variations. So that variations, the historians find out that variations, they described this is the river front garden. They described this garden as the river front garden. River front garden. Next situation in Agra. In the middle part of the Agra, a garden was set up or constructed in the same way the Chahar Bagh garden. So as the formal gardens were constructed, a formal garden was constructed in Agra, means in the middle part of the Agra. So there is a variation in that Chahar Bagh. For that purpose, the historians described this garden as the river front garden. It was built on the river. So front part of the river. So it is described as the river front garden by the historians. Okay. So the dwelling of the nobles. The dwelling means the houses. The houses of the nobles were not constructed in the middle part of the Chahar Bagh. They constructed their houses besides of the edge of the Chahar Bagh. The nobles constructed their homes or residence the edge of the Chahar Bagh, and also which is near to the Yamuna river. Okay, in this way the nobles constructed their homes, their dwellings. Dwellings means homes or residence, especially the edge of the Chahar Bagh. In Agra, we can find one of the important garden that is built in the just a format like a Chahar Bagh. Okay, that Bagh, that garden is in the middle part of the city. The nobles built their buildings, built their homes aside this Chahar Bagh, means the edge of the Chahar Bagh, and also it is very near to the bank of the river Yamuna. Okay. Later in Agra, he also built one of the important building, and also he constructed the garden. Means Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan constructed the one of the important building in Agra, which was that is Taj Mahal. Yes, Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is one of the very important building we found in Agra. Okay. So, Shah Jahan adopted, when he wanted to build the Taj Mahal, here also he adopted the riverfront garden in the layout of the Taj Mahal. He also built, Shah Jahan also built the riverfront garden when he lay out the Taj Mahal. Here also he built the riverfront garden. So, this Taj Mahal is the grandest architecture accomplishment of his reign. It is a grandest architectural accomplishment. Means the architecture reached its attainment. The architecture reached its attainment during the period of the Shah Jahan. Okay, and also here he built Taj Mahal. It is very, very beautiful building, isn't it? We already know about that. This building was built by the White Marble Mausoleum. He built Taj Mahal with the white marbles of the mausoleums, and also this was placed on the terrace by the edge of the river. The Taj Mahal was placed by the edge of it was placed on the terrace by the edge of the river, and also the garden was in the south. The garden was in the south of the south part of the Taj Mahal. In this way, he built the Taj Mahal. Okay, Shah Jahan developed his architectural form. Shah Jahan developed his architectural form as the means to control the access. He developed this architectural form as the means to control the access that notable had to the river. And also he built another new city. Not only he built the Agra, and also he built the new city, especially near the Delhi, that is called as Shahjahanabad. That is called as Shahjahanabad. Shahjahanabad was another city. Shahjahanabad was the another city constructed by the Shah Jahan in Delhi. Okay, he constructed in Delhi. Okay, here also the imperial palaces commanded, means here also some nobles, they start to build their homes, they build their residence here. Okay, here the specially favored nobles are given the places to build their houses in this place. Here only some nobles, some favored nobles. Here especially some favored nobles, like the eldest son of Shah Jahan, his name was Dara Shikoh. Dara Shikoh was given the chance to build his own building, his own residence on the river, on the bank of the river Yamuna. But other nobles are given the chance to construct their homes within the cities away from the river Yamuna. In this way, he used the architectural forum as a means to control the access that nobles had to the river. Okay. Next, we learn about the region and the empire. How the regional architecture influenced the other empires and how they adopted this architecture, where we found such type of architecture. Okay, let us learn about that. Region and empire. Region and empire. Region and empire. During the period of 8th and 18th century, between the period of 8th and 18th century, between the period of the 18th and 18th century, there was a considerable sharing of ideas across the region and the region. Means between the period of 8th and the 18th century, the architectural ideas were start to share from one region to another region, from one place to another place. Okay, there are different types of architectural style, isn't it? They have many different types. The variety of architectural style we found in the region, isn't it? So here what happened during the period of 8th and 18th century, they start to share their architectural forms or styles from one to another, from region to region. Such type of activities were started between the 8th and the 18th centuries. The many peoples of many regions, they adopted which seems to beautiful. They adopted such type of architecture in their regions, other in their places. Means when they start to construct their buildings, they adopted. Okay, especially we can observe, we can see there is many more examples here. Those were, for example, the Vijayanagara's elephant stable style. Here in Vijayanagara, the elephant stables of the rulers, elephant stables of the rulers were influenced by the style and architecture of the adjoining sultans of Bijapur and Golconda. Means the Vijayanagara architecture was influenced to the Bijapur Sultan and the Golconda. The style of architecture, especially the elephant stable architecture, was influenced by the Golconda and the Sultan of Bijapur and Golconda. As a result, they adopted this type of architectures in their own buildings. Under the situation, the Vijayanagara art and architecture, especially the elephant stables, attracts the Sultan of Bijapur and Golconda. Later, they also adopted these styles in their own buildings. They built such type of art and architectures in their own region. In the same way, the Vrindavan near Mathura. In Vrindavan, the many temples were constructed in Vrindavan near Mathura. In that place, many temples were constructed in architectural style. They are very similar to the Akbar's, the Mughal palace Fatehpur Sikri in Vrindavan near Mathura. The place called Vrindavan, many temples were built in Vrindavan. Okay, it is near Mathura. Okay, in that place, many temples were built. They are influenced by the Fatehpur Sikri, the buildings which were in Fatehpur Sikri. Okay, they adopted the art and architecture which were used in Fatehpur Sikri. They adopted and they built such type of art and architecture buildings here. In this way, they were also influenced by the art and architecture of the Mughals, means the Fatehpur Sikri. And also the creation of large empires that brought different regions under their rule helped the cross fertilizations of the architecture, cross fertilization of artistic forms and architectural styles. When the king become more powerful, when one king become more powerful, so under his control he took a large territory come under the control of that people, isn't it? For example, Mughals. When the Mughals were ruling here, the most part of the India subcontinent come under the control of the Mughals. So this situation led to share the architectural ideas from one region to another. It is very easy. On that time, when they were control of one leader, one ruler, so then the sharing of ideas, the sharing of art and architecture is very easy. So on that time, what happened, you know, this situation helped cross fertilization of artistic forms and architectural styles. Means the south people adopted the north side art and architecture. And the same way, the north side peoples, they adopted the south side art and architecture. In this way, cross fertilization was started during this period, means when they come under the control of the one ruler. Okay, especially the Mughal rulers, particularly skilled, they were very skilled in adopting the regional, they were very skilled in adopting the regional architecture styles. The Mughal rulers were skilled, they are very brave, they are clever to adopt such type of regional architecture, art and architecture. And also they constructed their own using that art and architecture, using the art and architecture, regional art and architecture, they build many buildings here. For example, I will give an example. In Bengal, the local rulers, in Bengal especially, the local rulers developed a roof of, local rulers developed a roof that was designed to resemble of the thatched hut. And this situation in Bengal, the Bengal local ruler developed, a roof that was designed, a roof was designed to resemble the thatched hut. So this style of art especially inspired the Mughals. In this situation, the Bengal rulers, the Bengal regional rulers, local rulers, they developed a roof that was designed to resemble the hut shape. Okay, the thatched hut. So this style, this art attracts the Mughal empires. So the Mughal liked the Bangla Doom. Especially the Mughals liked the Bangla Doom. Bangla Doom is here they developed in Bangla Doom, the Bangla people, the Bengal people, they developed the roof. They developed the roof which was seen like a thatched hut. Okay, this situation, this art, this style of art attracts the Mughals. As a result, the Mughals were also accepted. this style of art and architecture. So later we can observe the Akbar's capital Fatehpur Sikri. Akbar capital Fatehpur Sikri. In that Fatehpur Sikri he built many buildings. Akbar built many buildings in Fatehpur Sikri. So there he adopted. So in the many art and architecture they used this type of Bangla dome. They used this art and architecture. They built many buildings. Not only they built many buildings here in the Akbar's capital Fatehpur Sikri. Many buildings show the influence of the architectural style of Gujarat and Malwa. I already told in Fatehpur Sikri the some of the buildings were influenced by the other regions, isn't it? In the same way, the buildings which were built in Fatehpur Sikri, those buildings shows the style of Gujarat and Malwa. Here the Akbar adopted some of the regional architecture, art and architecture of the Gujarat and Malwa. In this way, the many style of arts which were influenced to the others, they adopted. Here in this way the regional ideas, regional styles of art and architecture, they are cross building here. Once again I will repeat some points. I will repeat who adopted to whom's art and architecture here. Especially I will repeat the Vijayanagara style of architecture, especially the elephant stable. The elephant stable architecture was influenced. The elephant stable art and architecture was strongly influenced to the adjoining sultans. Those were Bijapur and Golconda. The style of art and architecture of the Vijayanagara was influenced to the sultans Bijapur and Golconda. As a result, they adopted the Vijayanagara art and architecture in their buildings. Okay, in the same way, the Vrindavan people near Mathura, Vrindavan peoples, they attracts by the art and architecture of the Akbar's city, Akbar's capital Fatehpur Sikri. In Fatehpur Sikri, Akbar built many buildings, isn't it? So those art and architecture influenced this Vrindavan peoples, Vrindavan architects. So these Vrindavan architects adopted the art and architecture of the Fatehpur Sikri. So using that art and architecture, here the architects built many temples in Vrindavan. Okay, later when the king started to rule all over the continent, this situation led to cross fertilization of the artistic forms. This situation led to the cross fertilization of the artistic forms, means from one place to another place, from one region to another region, the people start to accept, means adopt the art and architecture of the other regions which was influenced by them. Here many especially the Mughal rulers adopted the Mughal rulers were very skilled persons to adopting the regional art and architecture here, especially in Bengal. In Bengal, native rulers, the Bengal in local rulers developed a roof design. They developed the roof design which was resembled to the thatched hut. I will show that one picture tomorrow. Okay, I forgotten. I will show that picture tomorrow. Okay. So that roof, the thatched hut, they developed the roof just like a detached hut. So that situation, that style of art influenced the Mughals. As a result, Mughal adopted the style in many buildings. Okay. Later, in the same way, the Akbar's capital Fatehpur Sikri, the Akbar capital Fatehpur Sikri, in many buildings were built. Those were also have the influence. When the Akbar was built the buildings at the Fatehpur Sikri, then he adopted the styles of art and architectures of the Gujarat and Malwa. Gujarat and Malwa styles, architecture style was adopted by the Mughals, especially we can observe in the place called Fatehpur Sikri. In this way, cross fertilization was started. As a result, many types of varieties of the buildings, mosques, temples, tombs were built during this period. Okay. So when, even though they built many buildings and temples here, when the authority of the Mughals start to decline, the authority of the Mughals when start to decline during the period of 18th century. 18th century witnessed the downfall of the Mughals. Even though the situation led the decline of the Mughals, but their architectural style, which was developed under the patronage of the Mughals, it was adopted by the other rulers, other kings, other native kings. They want who wants to build their own buildings, who want to establish their own kingdoms here. Even though the kingdom was collapsed, even though the kingdom was declined, the Mughals were declined, even though they were declined, the art and architecture which were patronized by the Mughals, which art and architecture was developed during the period of the Mughals. It was not vanished, it was not declined. So that art and architecture, it was continued. Where it was continued, that art and architecture was adopted by the other rulers who wants to build their own kingdoms here. In this way, art and architecture was developed. It was continued. The development of the art and architecture was continued, even though the Mughals were declared here. Okay, this chapter is ended. Let us will next. Okay, thank you.